says Ghana poised to become food basket. Minister acclaims planting for food and jobs feat. Kanoforiata refutes Amidu's assessment of Ejapa deal. Integrity of ballot papers intact. That's the EC. Private public sectors must collaborate for self-reliant economy. That's some speakers there.
Now, if you go to the finder, Ghana is becoming food basket in West Africa under Akufo-Addo. 500,000 metric tons of food exported to rake in 790 million Ghana cedis. This is according to the minister of the sector. Let's adhere to prescribed COVID-19 protocols to prevent new infections. Finance Ministry commits to adhere to President's directives on Ejapa. NDC to float shares in thermal power plants. This is John Jenapo. Rwandan High Commission opens office in Accra to boost business and friendship. And it will be ungratefulness if you don't vote NPP. Guess who is speaking? The Seshi, Paramount Chief.
The Daily Guide says, Mahama is GO1. Amidu reveals Ghana becoming food basket. Sir Kodia Samini endorsed Akufo-Addo. Court sees Takrady girls' bones. And Bono organizer shocks MPP with goodies.
Now, the Ghanaian Times, Ghana on the way to being self-sufficient in rice production. This is the Greek minister. Can Parliament reconsider Ejapa deal? Minority, majority, lock horns over agreement. We are not overprinting ballot papers, EC Paris NDC allegations, and race to White House, Trump or Biden.
Okay, the Daily Statesman says, Ghana becoming West Africa's food basket. Minister touts Akufo-Addo's agric sector achievements. Mahama in tears as SP uncovers him as GO1 in Airbus bribery scandal. Plus, Rashid oils Bono MPP campaign with 30 motorbikes and more.
Now, the Chronicle, a Japa deal will be a leaking pipe in public purse. This is Amidu. Airbus scandal probe. I'll grill Mahama after election, says Amidu. We did nothing wrong in a Japa deal, Oforiata, and Ghana exports 700 million worth of food to neighboring countries.
Okay, the Herald says Oforiata and Ochedakun give confusing claims on the Japa deal. Statements on Peace and Asempa FM different from response to Amidu's corruption risk assessment. Sir Kodia Samini MPP stomach enterprise false in quotes frat. And Kingdom Exim supports 36th National Farmers Day celebration with 200,000 Ghana cedi sponsorship.
The New Crusading Guide, Finance Minister Paris wrongdoing tag says deal has been transparent from the onset. Stay away from false politics, Chairman Divine Agohum tells Reverend Sam Kranche Ankara. Finance Minister's comment not on my 64-page report, Martin Amidu clarifies. Nana B, NPP youth hold Bantama to stand still as thousands work with Asensi Boache. And the good news, Ghana is fast becoming West Africa's food basket. This is our great minister.
Okay, the BNFT says banks ready to finance agriculture. That's according to an APSA executive. ZPay transfers to extend local remittance reach and beyond. Northeast benefits from waste treatment facility. And export strategy eyes $1 billion in terms of revenue from cashew in 10 years.
Let me take you abroad, starting off with BBC, just to give you a flavor of the headlines. U.S. election on knife edge as in key states. Now, they are showing Biden with 210 electoral votes, Trump with 213, but they are way behind. You need 270 to win. Now, if you go to CNN, nail-biter election is down to the wire. They are giving Biden 220 and Trump 210. Senate control is split down the middle, 46 Democrats, 46 Republicans. This is how close it is. Now, Fox News, their live update says key battlefield states, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, hang in the balance, as Trump says he will make a statement. Now, that's for Fox News. Now, if you go to Politico, Trump takes Florida and Texas to keep hopes alive. Trump also took Iowa and Ohio, but it's too early to call Pennsylvania and Arizona. Meanwhile, the story they write below that says Trump and Biden may be in limbo for days. So we're not going to sleep for many, many days. The New York Times says Trump is standing in our way. That's their opinion. Meanwhile, the headline says nation watches anxiously as the race comes to a furious end. That's their lead story for the morning. Now, let me take you back into Ghana here on Citi Newsroom. Elected president should be sworn in parliament. This is Chairman Sabonsu. Also, Haruna Idrisu says Parliament can't correct the effects of a Japa deal. Meanwhile, NDC's claim about overprinting of ballot papers misleading according to the EC, and IGP to brief Ghanaians on police readiness for 2020 polls today. That will be live on citynewsroom.com. If you go to my journal online, Parliament cannot review a Japa deal just because Akufo-Addo says so. Chairman of Finance Committee. Also, I'm disappointed in Amidu for labeling me as government official one. This is Mahama. And a Japa royalties deal. I am happy Martin Amidu touched on the role of the transaction advisor. This is Isaac Adongo. Let's get into the details, people.
Well, if you go to the front page of the Daily Graphic, there's some story, or there's a big story on agriculture. Now, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efriya-Kutu, has touted the achievements of the Planting for Food and Jobs program, describing it as a vehicle towards making Ghana the food basket for West Africa. He said, for instance, that from 1.72 million tons of maize produced in 2016, the figure currently stood at 3.43 million, while paddy rice production jumped from 688,000 tons in 2016 to 1.6 million this year. Speaking on the theme, Ghana becoming breadbasket of West Africa, when he took his turn at the Nation Building Update series in Accra yesterday, Dr. Akoto explained that rising food crop production levels had resulted in huge surpluses which were being exported to neighboring countries such as Burkina Faso, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Niger, and Mali.
All right.
He also said that an additional 2,000 extension officers will be employed next year, and that 300 pickups, 3,400 motorbikes had been purchased for extension officers to boost their work. He said 500 farmers received 16 million metric tons of seedlings, and 3 greenhouse villages have been established to train people in horticulture. They are in Dawenya, Akumadan, and Bojuase. Also, 296 graduates have already been trained in horticulture. And on rearing for food and jobs, he says, under the pastoral leg of government's agric agenda, dubbed rearing for food and jobs, the government in 2019 supplied about 30,000 cockerels to 3,000 farmers. Another 750 farmers were given 7,500 sheep. And this year, 10,000 pigs, 23,000 sheep, and goats, 130,000 guinea fowls, 86,000 cockerels, 144,000 layers, and 100,000 broilers were distributed to farmers across the country.
All right, now let's talk about the Japa deal. That's also still trending.
Yes.
There are 2 stories here. I don't know if you have been in the newspapers.
Yes, the Ghanaian Times lead stories on the Japa. The Chronicles 2 lead stories are also on the Japa. So let me start with the Times, and then we
The
get
Daily
to the
Graphic also
Chronicle.
has something.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is asking, can Parliament reconsider a Japa deal? And the story says the majority and minority are divided over whether or not the House can remedy the defects detected by the Office of the Special Prosecutor into the controversial Japa Royalties Limited. A corruption risk assessment by the SP into the Japa deal concluded that there was a reasonable suspicion of bid rigging, corruption, and conflict of interest in the selection of investors. Now, in response to the report, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has directed the Finance Minister to return the deal to Parliament for same to be reconsidered with emphasis on areas including allocations, relationships, and investments. But speaking to journalists in separate interviews in Parliament yesterday, Osei Mensah Bonsu and his colleague on the opposite side, Haruna Idrisu, were at opposite ends if Parliament could intervene. According to this report, Parliament cannot remedy the defects so identified by the Special Prosecutor. How is Parliament going to cure nepotism and cronyism? How is Parliament going to cure the fact that you appointed a chief executive officer without due process? And these were questions thrown to them. And for the minority, they say they feel strongly vindicated. The truth must always stand with the political minority at all times. And Ghanaians will now understand why. So this is Haruna Idrisu saying that Ghanaians will now understand why he lost his cool and temperament.
But could you listen? This one goes to Haruna here. In Citi Newsroom version, Parliament cannot correct the effects of a Japa deal. According to him, the findings of the corruption risk assessment conducted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor validate their concerns about the deal. But he says Parliament cannot remedy the defects of the transaction in any way possible. And this is why we question the transaction. We feel strongly vindicated, and Ghanaians will understand why I lost my cool. As you said, the minority is not likely to change its position on the Japa. We do not support it today. We do not support it tomorrow. We will not support it in the future. But Chairman Sabusu, majority leader, insists the minority's claim that corruption risk assessment vindicates their position is preposterous. Then a few other people quoted on the Japa deal, just to give you some quick flavor. The Mark Esibe Yeboah, who is the MP for New Jobbing, and also the chairman of finance committee says Amidu's corruption risk assessment was sloppy. Chairman of Finance Committee of Parliament Makesebe Boa has described as sloppy the report released by Special Prosecutor on the Japan royalties deal. According to him, the SP failed to consult the committee which worked on the agreement. Now, he basically thinks that we thought the Special Prosecutor was going to do a thorough job and clear the house of Ghanaians. By reading his corruption risk assessment report, this has been a sloppy job because the connected parties. Now, I just wanted to give you a few more stories. If you go to Star News, a Japan report, don't patronize me, Amidu tells Eugene Ahin. Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu has called on presidential spokesperson Eugene Ahin to desist from downplaying his analysis of the Japan royalties deal. According to him, the statement from the presidency following his work on the royalties deal appeared to patronize his office and the job they had done. In a statement on Tuesday, Mr. Amidu said he declined an offer by the president to hand him a copy of the finance minister's response to an analysis on the royalties. We'll read the full statement later during the show. Any more, Japa?
Yes, on page 20 of the Daily Graphic, Kanoforiata, who's the finance minister, has refuted a corruption risk assessment by the special prosecutor, which concluded that the gold royalties monetization transaction agreement, popularly referred to as the Japa deal, was not transparent and could give rise to corruption.
All right, Amidu is still in the papers. Our Gro Mahama after election. This is the Chronicle's big story. It says the special prosecutor, Martin Amidu, has explained the reason former President Mahama, under whose tenure as Vice President, the alleged Airbus bribery scandal took place. According to Mr. Amidu, his office has been investigating the matter since it was referred to it by the President, and has every reason to conclude that the unidentified government official one, as the United Kingdom's court described, is John Dramani Mahama. And he's not invited him for questioning because he's in the contest for the presidency of the Republic of Ghana.
All right.
And he invites him later.
Well, if you go to page 29 of the Daily Graphic, this is related to elections. NPP, NDC, Ododo candidates commit to peace.
Fantastic.
Now, the parliamentary candidates of the NDC and NPP in the Ododo constituency in the Greater Accra region have pledged their commitment to ensure peace and unity in the constituency before, during, and after the December 7 general election. The NDC candidate, Ni Lante Vanderpoel, who is the incumbent MP, and the NPP candidate, Ni Lante Bannerman, who's contesting the seat for the second time, both condemned the recent clashes that took place between their supporters during a peace walk by the NDC. Now, they made this call at Jamestown when the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons called on them in their various constituency offices.
Still on the elections, we are not overprinting ballot papers, EC Paris NDC allegations, center spread of the Ghanaian Times. The Electoral Commission has described as misleading and untrue allegations by the National Democratic Congress that the Commission is overprinting ballot papers for the upcoming elections. The NDC earlier this week alleged that the Commission had secretly increased the number of ballot papers being printed by the Assembly Press Limited, one of the printing houses selected to print the 2020 ballots. However, the EC, in a statement issued yesterday, asked the public to disregard the allegations, saying all political parties have accredited agents in all the printing houses who monitor and keep a 24-hour watch of the printing process.
There's a story that the SEC released. It's on citybusinessnews.com. Don't pay facilitation fee to access locked up cash. SEC to clients. This story says the Securities and Exchange Commission has advised customers of defunct fund management companies to refrain from paying a facilitation fee to get access to their locked up funds. An entity called PBay Limited is purporting to be able to facilitate the payment of customers' locked up funds with some SEC regulated market operators whose licenses have been revoked in some of the in return for a fee or a commission. SEC in a statement says the actions of PBay Limited are fraudulent as it has not been registered by the Registrar General's Department. Quote, our investigations have revealed that there is no company duly registered by Registrar General's Department under that name. Furthermore, the public and investors are to note that neither SEC nor the official liquidator, the Registrar General, have authorized the actions of the so-called PBay Limited. The full statement is on the website. Okay,
if you go to page 6 of the Daily Guide, a story says, court seized Takoradi Girls' bones. Now, it was a solemn moment at the premises of the Secondary High Court yesterday when the skeletal remains confirmed to be that of the 4 missing girls in Takoradi were brought to court. There were scores of residents in the Secondary Takoradi metropolis who lined up by the side of the road leading to the court premises, hoping to catch a glimpse of the remains. The bones of the missing girls were in court as part of the ongoing hearing of the trial of 2 Nigerians, namely Samuel Odetok Wills and John Oji, who allegedly kidnapped and killed the 4 missing girls. Now, it will be recalled that at the last court sitting on October 23, 2020, the 7-member jury empaneled for the trial of the 2 suspects in the case requested to see the bones of the girls retrieved from a septic tank in the metropolis.
All right.
Now let's go to sanitation and then power. Back page of the Ghanaian Times. Minister unveils plans to improve solid waste management. The story by Jonathan Donko says the Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Benadapa, yesterday unveiled a 7-pillar action plan by which government intends to improve the management of solid waste in the country. Titled the National Solid Waste Management Strategy, the 51-page document aims to set the country on the path towards progressive, high-quality, cost-effective and solid waste management service delivery for public health and other benefits. Bernard, what does this remind you of? National Solid Waste Management Strategy. You know, we have the National Environmental Solid Action Plan, which we didn't execute.
Yeah.
So there's a new one. We'll be monitoring this closely whether we can execute it properly. Now, in power, the NDC says they will float shares in thermal power plants.
Okay.
Now, John Appiah writes for the Finder that the opposition National Democratic Congress is promising to consolidate all thermal power plants under a new authority and float shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange for Ghanaians to own a stake in this authority in the new entity called the Ghana Thermal Plant. The Volta River Authority and the Bui Power Authority will be made to focus on hydropower generation instead of venturing into other areas of generation.
Okay.
The NDC has also proposed the creation of Renewable Energy Commission to spearhead its golden age of renewable energy agenda. He said this at the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors 9th with the parties, which was aired live here on Citi.
So that the NDC took their turn on Monday, MPP will take their turn on Friday.
Yeah.
Now, let me take you to a quick one on the police. I think you said that, just to reiterate, the IGP to brief Ghanaians on police readiness for election 2020, and that's happening this morning. Story says that the Inspector General of Police, James Opombwenu, would address Ghanaians through the press later today to update us on our preparations towards election 2020 next month. He will speak about security concerns emanating from electioneering activities and measures put in place to ensure a peaceful election process.
Just a quick note on the police. The International Hospitals Group, this is on page 29 of the Daily Graphic. The International Hospitals Group has provided a new 112 body cold room chamber facility at the new police hospital site in Accra as part of its humanitarian response to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
But when will that police hospital be completed? It's been 16, 17 years since construction began. When will the actual project be completed? I think that it will be great to know that as well. Now, if you go to the new Crusading Guide, Ivory Coast election, Ouattara wins amid boycotts. Yes. And there's also unrest in Ethiopia. Dozens rounded up and killed in Oromia State. Now, the Ivory Coast story says Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has won a controversial 3rd term in office in an election boycotted by the opposition. He took 94% of the votes, even winning 99% in some of his strongholds. Turnout was put at almost 54%, and the result has been confirmed by the Constitutional Council.
Speaking of elections, let me take you to the U.S. This is a newspaper I followed, Politico. Trump and Biden may be in limbo for days, and the story says the former vice president and Donald Trump, the president, are locked up in a closer than expected fight, even as Biden's projected confidence that he will prevail. Donald Trump and Joe Biden were bracing for a long night and potentially days of ballot counting, as early returns suggested a closer race than many had expected. Now, Biden was running ahead in early returns in Arizona, with a victory promising to short-circuit Trump's already narrow path to election. If Biden wins Arizona, a state Trump carried 4 years ago, he could lose Pennsylvania and still win the presidency. Still, Trump carried Florida, a key swing state, as well as Ohio and Iowa. Across the map, the race appeared so close that a protracted period of ballot counting was likely, and Trump was holding on to a slim path to a second term. And then they start giving the state-by-state analysis. And basically, as we speak, Joe Biden has 224 electoral votes. Donald Trump has 213. The person who gets to 270 wins. States they are waiting for: Georgia, it's very strongly being waited for; Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Michigan. So that's what's happening in the U.S. Very many websites are saying different things. Fox News says Trump is supposed to make a statement shortly because apparently Joe Biden made a statement that says that they are on course to win, and Trump has posted a tweet. Let me just read Mr. Trump's tweet.
I think I saw it earlier.
He tweeted a few moments ago. He says, "We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. Steal is in capital STEAL. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be counted after the polls are closed." And he tweeted this a few hours ago. So, and the Fox News says Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania hang in balance as Trump promises to make statements shortly. And then, of course, CNN is basically saying that the elections are down to the wire, while Trump wins crucial Florida, and then the race is very close. So we'll know. They say we'll know probably by tomorrow or maybe the day after. Who knows?
Oh well, I mean, we'll all see how all of this will play out.
Anyway, we have just a minute.
And
to go.
as we
Final
get
stories.
ready for ours, Opoku-Agyeman supports various campaigns for peaceful elections. Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman, running mate of the NDC, has called on the citizenry to support the various campaigns for peace, tolerance, and respect for divergent views in the build-up to the 2020 general elections. She made the call when she joined the overlords, sub-chiefs, and people of the Wala traditional area to celebrate this year's festival at Wa on Wednesday. Yesterday, the people there signed the peace treaty or the peace accord.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Nathan
let's push for peace.
Yes. Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Nathan. We'll be back with business news. Stay with us.
On every street, in every town, and all across Ghana, everyone has goals. What's your goal?
I want to expand my business in the next year.
I want to own my own house in 5 years.
I want to invest and grow my
I
wealth.
want to plan for my wedding.
Fidelity Bank understands that individually we are strong, but together we can do more. From Kukwa, our WhatsApp banking assistant, to our online banking platform where you can make payments and do all your banking transactions. And of course, our best in-class mobile app where you can make investments and track your finances. Our digital products can help you to achieve your goals without having to come to the